All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as always. All right, let's get the nonsense out of the way. Bass Bunny, thank you for the 5x5. Alcohol Prepper, Ozark, let's go. Thank you for the 5x5. Tom, Flown Grown, Brian, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it. Adam, Nostradamus, Maria, Rhonda, Ectate, Colt, thank you for the 5x5. Dobie, Groundhog, Scott, Raven, Witty, Jeep Dog, Maverick, Evolving Media, Michelle, thank you for the 5x5. Raccoon, Laura, Larry, Shannon, Kimberly, Sway, Nancy, PA, Mama Bear, Moments, thank you for the 5x5. Nowhere Crow, thank you for the 5x5. Prep to Adapt, Maria Jackson, Rolo, 2, thank you for the 5x5 on Rumble. For the doggies, thank you for the 5x5. And another friend, thank you for the 5x5. Appreciate it. All right. The Watchmen, I'm going to touch on the whole Nepal Kathmandu riot or chaos. NYC, thank you for the 5x5. Krista, Kat, thank you for the 5x5. I heard about what was going on in Nepal and I sort of like brushed it off. I was like, whatever. But then once they started murking people and they murked one of the politicians there, and actually they burned her home down with her in it. And I think there was images of her husband who was beaten to death. I think he was beaten to death, but I know that he was pretty beaten up. Uh, Destroyer and Gutter, thank you for the 5x5. So that was pretty interesting, and the reason why it all went down, when I saw what went down, I was like, wait a second, there's no way in hell that they were fighting because of a social media ban. I said, there's no way. I couldn't. I read it. I said, I was ready to reach for glasses I didn't have. I'm like, no, that doesn't say that. Not at all. Right? And so I start looking around and I'm like, fucking kidding me? These people are going at it over a social media ban. So that means something else more nefarious has to be in play. Because there's no way on God's green earth people are going to break out and riot and do the things that they're doing because of a social media ban. Though there was a study stating that if people didn't have their internet and their phones, society would break down because a certain generation, I think it's this generation, and the current generation standing, they couldn't survive without it. And I sort of see that. Raccoon Eyes, thank you for the 5x5 on Rumble. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I don't know. James, thank you for joining us. And tell Pinball thank you. Tell the old timer I appreciate it. He hates when I call him that. He's like, I'm not that fucking old. I know. But because it's an ongoing joke, I have to stick with it now. Dig deep. So anyway, apparently the protesters in Nepal are between the ages of 13 and 28. I want to know what's really going on because there's no way this can be. It really can't be. It can't be because it was a social media block. And if it is, we're in trouble. If this in fact is that, we're in trouble because society is going to break out into violence because of social media. Meanwhile, there are half a dozen things that Nepalese, Nepalese, whatever. Those people in Nepal, they could be fighting for a lot of other things, and social media ban should not be one of them. Now, we did see people here in the United States crying and carrying on when they were talking about blocking or rather banning TikTok. Remember those people who were crying? They did videos. What am I going to do if they block it? Get a job, fucko. Or switch to another social media platform. But the amount of crying that we saw because of the TikTok ban, or the possibility of a TikTok ban, was insane. So, I mean, there's Nepalese. Okay, Nepalese? All right. So Nepalese is not a thing? Anyway, thank you. Who did that? No friends. Thank you. So anyway, yeah. God damn it. These ads on the chat is so strange. It's throwing me off. That is the strangest thing in the world. But the ad I'm looking at are Japanese chef knives. They're called Kokoro blades. Kokoro blades. Blade, rather, excuse me, no S at the end. They look like very nice knives. It says shop now. Ah, fuck me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. These blades are expensive. Not for nothing. These are nice blades. Holy shit. Snazzy blades. Hold on, sorry. I got sucked into it. They're not too bad. All right, they look expensive. They're not too bad. They're like 50, 40 bucks a knife. But yeah, it popped up on my chat, man. That's bizarre. Sorry. Motherfucker. All right, there it is. Neapolitan ice cream. Am I a chef at the station? Absolutely not. Can I cook? I'm all right. Firehouse cooking, they all say I can't, but then they go, but you do make good Cuban sandwiches, burgers, and half chicken a man. I love half chicken a man. But if you brine the half chicken first, and then you bake it, that's where it's at. And then you butter the shit out of it, like underneath the skin, and then you put it in the oven in like a slow roast. That's about as good as half chicken's gonna get. And we say half chicken a man because we take like a small chicken, we cut it in half, and you put it on a plate. Half chicken a man. Most people will quarter it up, so they're not eating it in, half a chicken, but whatever. But yeah. So anyway, guys, back to what's going on in Nepal. I refuse to believe that this is it. Now, keep in mind, guys. Yes, we have the CIA. We also have the what you call the Russian version. What the hell, the KGB? But the KGB is not together anymore. What do they call them now in Russia? Whatever they call them, even the Chinese could be involved in this. I wouldn't necessarily say this is American shit. This could be Chinese-run shit as well. This is Nepal, and Nepal and China have gone after it numerous times. So this wouldn't be a far-fetched thing if the Chinese started this whole operation. I just don't know what you would call it. What's on a Cuban sandwich? It's all pork. It's a pork sandwich with Swiss cheese, garlic, pickles, and then you toast the bread, butter on the outside. You toast it and you smash it, almost like a panini. It's exactly like a panini. Yes, the Watchmen. I see photos here of what the average citizen is holding in their hand. Bizarre. Russia has FSB. All right, roger that. But Cuban sandwich. Did I freeze? All right, sorry. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to say sorry. FSB, so it's not KGB anymore. Comment mood, 10 minutes late, 5x5. Thank you, comment mood. FSB. I got to look into that. All right, I should have known that, but yeah. And then the Chinese, right? They have their version of the CIA, and they could be involved in this. But I'm gonna read a couple of articles. I'm not gonna read all of it, but I mean some of the videos that I'm seeing. Like you could see a lot of these videos on not TikTok, Twitter, and they set fire to like the main parliament, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like, holy shit. Like, just the shit I'm seeing on Twitter is out of control. Never seen anything like this. And again, this cannot be because of a ban, social media ban. Now, earlier today, the death toll was 11. Now it's 22. And again, that includes some high-ranking politician that they just, like, burned in her own home. Which was not bizarre, but just against. I'm having a hard time, guys, believing that this shit was over social media. Like I really am. So anyway, let's start with this article. So again, tonight's live stream, guys, about we're being fooled. Everything they're almost. they're almost corralling us into becoming complete, total, and utter conspiracy theorists, because the route that they're taking us, the normies can't see it. They don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't understand what's going on. They can't read between the lines. So when you talk to somebody about the shit that's going on, which I normally don't do, I talk craziness here because some of you guys will understand it, some of you guys agree, and some of you guys won't agree. But the one thing we can all get on board with is that there is definitely some other shit going on. The normies, on the other hand, they can't understand this shit, and they're having a hard time grasping certain things, and then other things they take at face value of what the media tells them. So if the media is like, yes, the Nepalese prime minister put a ban on social media, that's why they're rioting, the Nepalese people the American citizens here, or the normies, they're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. But because they're conditioned to believing whatever the media tells them. And I will talk about the girl that got murked on the subway, Alexi. I saw the whole video, right? I finally got to see the whole video to that. That's a different discussion. I'm going to talk about that probably Thursday night, or if not, later tonight. But let me get around to this nonsense that's going on in Nepal. But anyway, so guys, so again, the normies don't know what's going on. So we talk about this shit on here, and to a normie, everything I'm saying sounds crazy. Let me back it up. So I started talking about a certain group of people that are ruining or taking over the world. That's my next live stream tonight at 10:05 or 10:10, excuse me, on the Angry Truth channel. We're talking about a group of people that are taking over. This group of people, guys, are starting to make more videos on how they're going to take over the world, right? And they read the Quran, those people. All right. That being said, a couple years ago, I talked about these people taking over the countries around the world and taking over the United States specifically, and the things they're doing, and the not traits, but markers of them taking over certain areas. And when I talked about Dearborn, I remember a couple guys in the firehouse saying they're not going to expand out of Dearborn. They're going to stay there. And I said, no, they're not. They're going to continue to spread. I said they're even in D.C. running for high-ranking political positions. All right. Now, one of the guys, I remember having this discussion with 2-3 years ago. He goes, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. He comes out of the blue. He goes, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. He goes, the Muslim community, there was a video where they talked about taking over, the world, and how they're going to do it, and how they're going to outbirth us. And I said, I told you that 2-3 years ago. We had this discussion in the kitchen. And he goes, yeah, but I thought you were. Yeah, that's exactly it. You normies think that we're nuts. You think that we don't read between the lines. We don't see shit coming. And I said, the one thing I'm getting better at is reading patterns. And this pattern of these people it's out in the open. And they're displaying their tactic on how they're going to take over. People don't want to see it, man. People are all like, it's a peaceful religion. Islam is not a peaceful religion. Not by a long shot. Never has been, never will be. Now, was it started out to be a peaceful religion? No, because it was started by the most corrupt person on this planet. And you cannot start a peaceful religion with a bag of shit. You just can't. It don't work that way. That being said, now that these people are running rampant throughout the world, there are videos upon videos upon videos of, the bean pie eaters sitting there talking about how they're going to take our women and all this other bullshit. All right. I'd like you to meet my fucking friend Smith & Wesson. They flood us with such BS that we can't tell facts from crap. Don, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. William Huxley theory, right? So I heard this theory a long time ago. I could not remember it for the life for me. So thank you, Thank you, Don, for bringing that up. But the William Huxley theory is a theory of where they flood us with information, good, real information and bad information, and they just keep flooding us with shit so we cannot decipher what's real and what's fake. And there's a lot of fake shit out there, but there's also a lot of real shit, and you have to, unfortunately, decipher the information before you move forward with it. That being said, a lot of the stuff we're seeing on the internet with Muslims taking over, we're going to talk in depth about what they're doing and how they're going to do it and how they're already bragging about it on the internet almost on a daily basis. So again, the normies can't decipher any of this information that we get and we see and we read. We read all of this shit and we read between the lines and we go, yeah, no, that's fake. Nope, that's not real. Okay, that could be real, but... Or they take a real situation, they add some bullshit to it, mix it together, sort of like taking burger meat, taking, sirloin meat and mixing it with chuck and putting it together. So you're taking good meat and bad meat, mixing it together. Now you can't tell it apart. And that's what the media and AI is starting to do. Starting to take information, mixing it together, and now it's hard for us to tell what's right and what's wrong, or what's good and what's bad. Right. That being said, what's going on in Nepal, I refuse to believe that this shit's going down because of social media ban. But if in fact it is a social media ban, and this is why they flipped out, there's a problem with the human race. Because again, there are so many other things we could be flipping out about. For example, that Karen that took the baseball from the kid, or rather the father gave her the baseball because he didn't want to hear her mouth. People went out of their way and tried to destroy this lady's life. This lady didn't punch a kid in the face. This lady didn't curse at the kid. She might have cursed at the father. She did carry on in front of the kid. She's an asshole. But she's not a worthy asshole to get her life destroyed over a baseball because she was complaining. Now, apparently, they can't find this lady because 2 places that people attacked thinking it was her when it wasn't, and thinking she worked for a school board down south somewhere, she didn't. But the fact that they're trying to ruin her life when we could be ruining the lives of politicians. We could be going after politicians and taking the same energy and ruining their life in that manner. We could be taking politicians, we could be going after gang members, cartels, sort of in the same fashion, and destroying their life in that manner. We could be hacking into their shit, destroying it, moving money around that they have, cartel members have. We could be emptying their bank accounts. But no, let's go after a lady who wanted a fucking baseball from a kid. Does it make her an asshole? Absolutely. But is it worthy to destroy her life over it? No. There are people banging kids on a daily basis, and yet they want to go after this chick who, yes, I saw the Golan picture of her. It was funny, but it's also stupid. We're going after the wrong people for the wrong things. Destroyer, she did not work at school. That was a false article. I thought it was, because I'm like, she lost her job over this shit. I said, there's no way that they fired her over this. And most school places have a union anyway, so she wouldn't have lost her job just like that. And anyway, I looked into it. Apparently, she didn't work for that school board or that education board, excuse me. She didn't work for it. They can't find her. They don't know where the fuck she is. So, again, all of that, guys, to destroy her life over a baseball, it's dumb. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Should, people, I don't know, should anybody else break her balls? I guess, but it's not up to us to ruin her life. Taking a baseball from a kid, it's not evil, if that's what you're getting at, no friend. Not evil by a long shot. The evil shit is allowing groups of people who are outwardly saying they're going to destroy our society and rape our women. That's evil. And that's the people who read the Quran. They are outwardly saying this shit on a daily basis. Destroyer. The problem is that everybody is just throwing fucking bullshit on the internet, and we're all reading it. Because again, I read the same thing and I looked at it and go, there's no way she lost her job over this shit. She didn't even curse at the kid from what I can hear. She never cursed at the kid. She yelled at the dad, and then the dad was like, I don't want to deal with this shit, and gave her the baseball. That's all. Adam Hoffman, it's not the point if she did it to herself. The point is is the monkeys are going after her for a baseball. We could be going after bigger things. We could, if we took the same energy of going after this lady and trying to destroy her life over a baseball, we should be destroying the lives of politicians who are making us pay illegal taxes, illegal fees, supporting this this Easy Pass bullshit downtown New York. We should be taking that same energy and fighting that. We should be saving money by telling politicians, yo, enough with the taxes, enough with these fees, right? Enough with these tolls downtown. That's what we should be fighting for, not some chick over a fucking baseball. It's the dumbest thing in the world. And listen, I'm sorry, but anybody who agrees with that, you're part of the fucking problem. We have bigger fucking issues we need to handle. And not some fucking Karen with a shitty haircut screaming about a baseball. She's going to get hers. Bottom line. And Rusty Neal, yes, the kid got something out of it. Good. But again, the kid wasn't like retarded or like, like special needs or anything. It was just a little kid. It's called life. Shit happens. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to see your parents get in an argument. To coddle him and like, oh, here goes a baseball and a bat and signed by the team and enough already. It's fucking bullshit. You got fucking people out here missing on a daily basis because they're in the sex trafficking industry. And we're not taking that fucking energy to find them, but we're taking that energy to find some lady with a shitty haircut? Come on, man. That's the fucking problem. And everybody else is sitting there going, well, fuck her, this, that, fuck her. She didn't even do anything. She screamed at somebody. Big fucking deal. Arguments happen all the time. What about the CEO that took the hat right out of the kid's hand after this guy signed it? No one went after him. This bitch takes a baseball and just nags the guy to death. Because you saw the guy's look on his face. He was like, oh my God, sounds like my wife. Here, take the ball. And that was it. Yes, Ace, the sheeple are at it again. And that's the problem. We as a people are falling apart and we're letting the media control our emotions. So when I saw that, I was like, all right, big deal. Shrugged my shoulders. 2 days later, she got fired from here. They're going after her job there. They're sending her death threats. Death threats? She took a baseball. She didn't grab the kid's nutsack. She didn't, they would death threats over a baseball. Oh my God. I'm like, it wasn't like she took the baseball from that fucking retard and something about Mary. Mary, where's my baseball? Right? Like, maybe you can go after her if the kid was a tard. But he wasn't. He was a normal kid that just watched another lady become an asshole. But instead, these people are taking the time and the energy to try to destroy her life and send death threats to her. Death threats over a baseball. Meanwhile, we should be sending those same messages to politicians because they want to raise the toll on the downtown, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? They're gonna raise that shit now. It hasn't even been a year they enacted it. Maybe it's been a little over a year, excuse me, right? And so they're getting that shit fucking up again, and no one's up in arms about that. Every time they raise a toll or a tax, we go, okay, they have to do it. That's our reaction? Fucking people's ancestors were on a ship in Boston throwing tea in it for fucking... And these people are raising taxes to where we can't even afford to live. And we're not fucking arguing over this shit. We're arguing over a fucking... a bitch with a fucking bullshit dyke cut. Probably wasn't a lesbian anyway. Not the point. I mean, enough already with this. And again... The masses follows along. They're like, she took a baseball from a kid. Get her! Fucking pitchforks and fucking torches. Let's get the bitch. Tar and feather her. Over a baseball. I mean, enough already. I think the prepper chair pisses him off. Franks and beans, yeah. I'm off to work. Yeah, well, listen. Anger displacement. Yo, that's the crazy shit. I don't get it, man. I don't understand why we're fucking ripping this lady's life apart for a baseball. Listen, granted, man, life is going to get her. Let her handle it. Let life handle her shit. She's going to get it one way she's going to get a flat tire, or her fucking transmission's going to fucking, fall out. Something crazy like that should happen to her. Not fucking people wishing her harm, till she bleeds out somewhere. That's fucking crazy shit. Over a baseball. Everybody who's fighting with this lady over a baseball is retarded. Again, just like the guy in Something About Mary. Remember he was taking a swing at people while they were touching his ears. So that was a little different. Anyway, it's all bullshit, man. Some of those videos from Nepal. Yes, Lexi. So a lot of those videos, when you watch them, you got to watch them closely because they could be AI. That's the other problem. What are AI and what's not? You can tell when it's AI if you look at the fire. AI cannot nail fire yet. Hopefully it won't for a long time, but if there's fire in the background, you can always look at it and go, yeah, that's fake. Always, it cannot nail fire and it cannot nail water yet. So just look for that. When you look at an AI video and you see fire anywhere, look at the fire first. It's going to be the biggest tell you'll ever see. For the doggies, I didn't see the power bill, but I'm going to look it up now. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, man. In all other cases, guys, yes, screaming and yelling at somebody for some bullshit is bullshit. Meanwhile, we got that guy that stabbed that Ukrainian girl right in the neck, well, in her chest area. And if you watch the whole video, that's crazy. Like, the look of fear on her face was like, she couldn't believe that happened. And then when she started covering her face and she looked down, I said, oh, there it goes. As soon as she went like this, I was like, she's bleeding out in her chest. And then she hit the floor, and then she started bleeding out from there. I was like, there it goes. The classic sign of bleeding out, man, was just like, she was like this, and she looked down, she looked around, and then she slumped down a little bit, like she got tired all of a sudden. That was the first sign, and then right out of the seat. And there was nothing they could do about it. This fucking animal's running the streets. And the other thing is, if I'm mistaken, they caught him, and they locked him up. Why are we doing this? Why are we locking him up? There should only be one solution to that. One solution and one solution only. But nope. They want to put this man in jail. They want to feed him 3 times a day. They want to make sure he has some commissary money. There was an idiot on GoFundMe that was trying to do a fundraiser for him. Though, I think the fundraiser account was set up by some Chinese or Russian asshole to create more division in this country. Because there's no way anybody set that guy's account up. No way. And GoFundMe took it down after being up for 48 hours. Now, either AI did it, or, again, a Chinese, bot, or a fucking guy sitting in his basement, or a Russian sitting in his basement set that account up to piss people off. The Watchman, that's the craziness. No one helped her. Like, as soon as it happened, the lady looked at her and, like, didn't do anything. Like, just sat there. Well, granted, I mean, even if you don't have medical training, you still like, are you okay? And listen, she was done anyway. Where she got hit, there was no way she was surviving that. Unless you stuffed a wound and put an occlusive dressing on, maybe. Because if he hit the top of her lung, which maybe he did, that's probably why she died, but there was a lot of blood, so he definitely hit the heart as well. Because it looked like he hit her here, and here he might have nicked the top of the heart. So, I don't know. Sarita Morales might have been one of the people that was siding with the baseball lady. She's like, we get it. We get your point. Just change the subject. Sarita, it's my show. So I want to talk about it for another 5 minutes I can. You were probably one of those people that were like, siding with her and shit. You were like, yes, let's get her. Fuck that bitch. What do you care? If you don't like the subject, you can just do something. The corner of the screen is an X. You hit the X, I go off your screen. You can go on to somebody else's screen. This is how it works. I talk about what I want to talk about. It's my party, and I cry if I want to. Anyway, with that, man, it's all falling apart. All falling apart. And it's like some shit in a movie we've seen 1,000 times. You watch that opening scene in a movie, and it's the newscaster or the radio, and it's talking about, like, the decline in the human race. It's like, that's like what we're seeing now. It's just insane. It's all fucking bad, man. It's just all bad. And it's not going to get better anytime soon. And when they say, guys, or when you hear the saying, it's going to get way worse before it gets better, my God, we haven't seen anything yet. Not even by a long shot. People are saying this is bad. This isn't bad. One of the patterns that I've seen, there are many patterns, and we can go in any direction. But the one direction that I'm seeing, that this is going to get so bad, that it's going to scare a lot of people, and things are going to get unbelievably bad. I think people are going to start offing themselves. That's one direction I definitely see shit going in. Yeah. This is going to get really, really scary. Really scary. And people don't understand it. Now, we understand it. Whether you watch me, Canadian Preppers crowd, the guy with the porn mustache, his crowd, Pinballs, what's her name? The fucking Squirrel Tribe chick. All of those people, we all understand one thing, and that's for fucking sure, is that this shit is going to get way worse. Like, nightmare, scary worse. And we are not going, a lot of people will not be able to, a lot of people will not be able to deal with what's coming. The way worse situation, the nightmares, the scary shit, things you thought you would have never seen in your life is going to start happening. I don't want to say soon, but we're going to see a lot of this shit in our lifetime. Again, this is going to get inherently scary, and people are just not prepared for it. Now, again, for anybody who watches a prepper channel, I don't care what channel you watch, we all understand that this is just the beginning. And when I mean just the beginning, I'm talking about like the tip of the iceberg. This is going to get bad. I mean, like, again, you'll see. We will see. But anyway, let me read the rest of this shit before somebody else complains about me spending too much time on a certain subject. Because God forbid. But anyway, so Nepal's Prime Minister has quit amid deadly, and now they're calling this the Gen Z protest, by the way, over social media ban and corruption. Here's what we know. Nepal's Prime Minister has resigned after more than half a dozen were murked and hundreds were injured during a youth-led protest sparked by a government ban on social media platforms, widespread corruption, and poor economic opportunities. Maybe the social media ban was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. Security forces unleashed live ammunition, water cannons, tear gas over protests in several cities, according to news agencies Reuters. At least 22 people have been murked. Dr. Mohan Rajim, the executive director of civil service hospitals in Kathmandu, told CNN. Nepal, a Himalayan country of 30 million people, is known for its turbulent political and has seen more than a dozen governments since its transition to a republic after abandoning its 239-year-old monarchy in 2008 following a decade-long civil war. Still, the latest protest, which is led by people the ages of 13 to 28, the cohorts known as Gen Z, are Nepal's worst unrest in decades. Oh, shit. That is, the last time you were trying to tell me. Sarita, yes, I didn't think Trump was going to win, but I was wrong. I admitted to that. In the last hour, I saw that he was going to win after what happened with Kamala Harris. I thought Trump wasn't going to win because I thought they were going to steal it. They didn't. That's why I thought he was going to win. I didn't think he was going to. There was no way he was going to win that election. Lose that election honestly. So when I thought they were going to cheat hard, they didn't. So I was wrong on that. I thought that's how he was going to lose. They were going to, take it from him again, but they didn't. So anyway, guys, these protesters are actually protesting because of widespread corruption. Now, again, take that energy and you could change the world. But instead, they're like, all right, we got widespread corruption. Whatever, I have my social media. We have poor economic opportunities and standards here. All right, but I got my social media. I still got my phone. But they put a social media ban on. They were like, you know what? Fuck this. And then they went fucking berserk. Never seen such a thing. Like, that was it for them. They were like, yeah, really? Gonna take my social media? Yeah, right, okay. And they set it off, man. Holy shit. The Prime Minister KP Sharm Oile resigned Tuesday. That was today. His aide said an anti-corruption demonstrator defied an indefinite curfew, martial law, and clashed with police a day after 19 people passed away in a violent protest that was triggered by a social media ban. So they were probably already like angry, and then they put a ban on their shit. They were like, I don't know. Whatever. So, guys, all of this is bullshit, right? There's definitely more to it. I would say in like 5 years or so, we're going to find out what really set this off. Meanwhile, this is just a ploy. The social media thing had to be a ploy. Though I can see, I mean, again, we saw people acting like children over TikTok being banned here. So there is that. Everybody's is the chat turning into the Wild West again? Hasn't been this lively in a while, so I do appreciate it. Also, all right. You're doing good. So now, guys, with all the distractions going on, and again, with the same energy, we could take that same energy and trying to destroy people's lives or burn our entire country down to the ground. But, you know, taking that same energy, we could try to get that Epstein files. I don't know. Maybe we storm the White House. I don't know. Maybe not storming the White House is not a good idea. Finding the truth about 9/11. There's a lot of misconception. There's a lot of things that are being hid about 9/11. And though, yes, we are 2 days away from it, I generally don't like to talk about it when we are... Fucking guys. Anyway, someone just sent whatever. So, what about the poison in our food? This country, one of the only countries, we still have garbage in our food. And RFK is trying to get a lot of that out of there and try to get a lot of it changed. And of course now, Democrats are saying he's wrecking the medical system. That he is changing the CDC and the way they operate, and that is going to harm us. Yeah, Jordan, I didn't mean that. I just meant like to get the Epstein files, we gotta use that same energy, is what I'm saying. To get the Epstein files, we gotta use the same energy that every other country is using and up in arms over. To get the poison out of our food chain, RFK right now is fighting that fight for us. So we gotta wait and see where that goes. But they're trying to get him out really badly. Like, because the food company, the food industry is like, yo, he's wrecking our shit. You know? He's wrecking our shit. We got to get him out of here. So there is that. Then the constant divide, man. Everything is a fucking fight now. Everything's an argument. Everything. I mean, like, you know, the guy that you know, knifed the lady, I'm pretty sure that people who agreed with getting him some kind of counsel, right? And so, I mean, granted, I think it was a Chinese bot or a Russian bot or just a Russian dude in the basement or Chinese dude in the basement that started that GoFundMe to get people pissed off. Again, division. So Charles John said FSB is a Russian secret police. GRU is military intelligence, sort of like the Army's CID. All right. And then he's asking me, what is a normie? Charles John, a normie is somebody who's not a prepper. That's like this, the best I can do with that description. For us preppers or conspiracy theorists, we're sort of like all in the same world. And a normie is that person who believes everything they're told on TV. Everything. Everything I look at now, I go, yeah, okay, and read between the lines kind of shit, you know? I read between the lines and everything now. I don't take anything at face value. Again, guys, let's just take the conspiracy theory shit away from it. And when I mean conspiracy theory, like, you know, the shit that we talk about, I have seen stuff happen with my own two eyes. And when the media reports it, they report it wrong, or they say that it was a firefighter when it was an EMT, or they said it was a cop when it was a traffic guard, like stupid shit like that. You know, like, for example, Building 7 coming down. People like, it was untouched. I'm like, it was untouched. I asked people, were you there? They go, no, but I said, I was there. I walked right past the building. And I remember looking at that gash that had to have been 10, maybe 12 stories long. So whatever came down in the first tower, second tower, sliced right through the bottom portion of the building. I would say below the 12th floor down. And it was a considerable amount of damage to that building. Now, should the building have collapsed hours later? No, because it should have collapsed after that strike. But if you looked at it, it only hit the facade of the building, and it was a nice gash, and there was a couple of metal strikes maybe right through a couple of the beams, and maybe the beams failed after a while. I don't know, but there was definite damage to the building. That was without a doubt. And again, for everybody who wasn't there, they were like, you know, it was pulled down. It might have been, but there was damage to the building. That's for sure. And a lot of people who weren't there are telling me that there was no damage to the building. I'm like, it was damaged. I looked at it. I remember looking at it and going, holy shit, how's that building not down? You know? So it could have been, listen, it could have been controlled demo. It could have just collapsed under that stress. It was a lot going down. And then you also had gas mains going off. And I also think, I don't want to go too far into this, but I also think some of the depth charges didn't go off when they were coming down. The buildings were coming down. And they finally went off later on, because I remember we were walking back to the site to see if there were any survivors, and you heard a boom. I mean, these things went off, and the ground started shaking. And then we turned back around, and we're like, oh, we can't go in there. And I remember somebody saying it was a gas main, and I'm like, yeah, but gas mains only go off once, and then you hear it pissing in the air. And when a gas main goes off, it's an unforgettable sound when that goes off, right? Especially when it's pissing gas the way it is. And if I'm not mistaken, Con Ed, watching this go on, should have shut down all of the gas down to that area of New York. So whatever was rocking and rolling wasn't gas mains. And it could have been, you know, a thermite charge or whatever it is. We don't know. I don't know. I would side more on the sense that it definitely was some kind of charge of some kind, but yeah. Who put in the charges? Who knows? Who knows? But whatever was making that explosive sound and shaking the ground was not gas mains. That's for sure. And there was also there were all kinds of rumors and shit going on down there that day. So many. You know, like there was a truck or a van with a lot of stuff inside of it to go boom. I mean, there was that racing down. There was a lot of shit. And I think that's what took down the second tower, because there were people on the radio screaming that there was a van headed towards us to get out of the area, repeatedly over the radios. Would not stop. And I didn't have a radio on because I was off duty. But I heard through other guys' radios, you guys got to clear the area. There's another truck headed this way. And they said another truck. Two different radio guys, dispatch, said another truck. And then you heard, I guess, chiefs or other firefighters talking about something coming towards us. And I think he might have gotten into the lower level of the building, because now the defense system was down. Those big giant walls that they had, or vehicle stoppers, barricades. The barricades were down. Might have made its way underneath, and that's what took the second one down. Because there was a giant boom before the second tower came down. I mean, it was fucking loud. It was loud, the ground shook, and then the tower came down. Second, when both towers were down and we were going in to see if there were survivors, there were more booming sounds all over the place, like in that area. there had to be some of the charges that didn't go off or wound up going off because of the heat. I don't know. I don't know how it works. No, I'm not NYP. It was FDNY, and I was an EMT at the time. When you're driving an ambulance and shit, you know. But anyway, yeah. So there's always a lot of misconceptions with 9/11, and certain things could be true, certain things might not be true. You know. Dan, the Pentagon, that was definitely. I will bet my life. Pentagon was a missile of some kind. Was not a plane. Not even close. Like, not even a little bit was that, like, you know, that was definitely like a missile of some kind. Not a plane. And I went to aviation high school, so I learned the basics of a plane. The basics. And, yeah, man, that shit don't track. Shit don't track at all. Your friend's in the ambulance outside. Yeah, that's all it is. But yeah, man, there was a lot of shit. And like, for example, one of the things that got people when I tell them this story, you know, going down to the Trade Center for months. You know, for months we're going down to the Trade Center, and there were cops everywhere. There were FBI agents, ATF, fucking those nerds with the pads, what are they, OSHA, right? Those fucking nerds down there. They're like, you gotta put your mask on, your helmet, or I'm gonna write you up. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Fucking nerd. The one time the guy got to flex his muscle was down at the Trade Center. You know, if you didn't have a hard hat on, they were writing people up. If you didn't have your mask on, they were writing you up. They didn't like the way you got off a rig. I mean, like, they were just the fucking ultimate nerds. You were like, get the fuck out of here and go on the other side somewhere. Pretty sure there's a ton of violations. You go right over there. I wasn't always yelling at them, but I got into it with them all the time. The guy was like, you need to put your mask on. I was like, you need to mind your fucking business, you know? And he was like, I was like, yo, I will fucking... I remember we were underneath in a parking garage, and I had taken my brother there. He wanted to see the wreckage, so I got him to go into a parking garage, and the parking garage was like collapsed. It was like you couldn't go anywhere. So he's down there, and we're looking, and he's like, holy shit. And I'm, you know, just pointing around, and then the OSHA guy comes in there, you guys can't be in here. I was like, God help me. And I look, and it's a super nerd. He's coming out with a super fucking cape. You know, he came out of nowhere, too. Like, we walked down there, and it took us a while, and there's shit you're crunching on, and he came down like a super nerd. He's like, super nerd. And he's like, you guys can't be here. I was like, take a fucking hike with your clipboard, nerd. Get out of here. He's like, I'm going to write you guys up. I remember I told him exactly this. I said, dude, there's no cameras here. You're going to get mangled. And he was like, and he just turned around and walked the other way. It's like the fucking nerd, and my brother started laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. But I was just like, yo, we got like mayhem. We have mayhem and chaos, and we're cleaning up shit. And he's worried about us and our lung problems. I'm like, I told him, I said, dude, we're already fucked. I said, you with that stupid thing in your face is not gonna save you. We're fucked. All of us are. And absolutely every last one of us who were down there for any amount of time doing the work we were doing was fucking screwed. Some of us are going to get it, and some of us are not going to get it. It is what it is. But I couldn't believe he was breaking my balls. It was like he flew in out of nowhere. I thought his fucking cape fell off after I yelled at him. But I was just like, it was just like, listen, egregious shit, I get it. But the whole hard hat, I'm like, there's nothing, it's going to fall on my head here. Like, you know? So anyway, me and my brother hightailed it out of there anyway. We were like, all right, fuck this. But, yeah, it was just the dumbest thing in the world, man. Fucking had this fucking nerd yelling at me. And again, it was just, you know, he was like flexing his muscle kind of deal. He was like, I'm gonna write you guys up. Shut up, man. Get off your fucking soapbox and go somewhere else. Oh, fucking nerds. And OSHA, yeah. Everybody has OSHA. OSHA's just a bunch of rejects, man. They're like, I got picked on my whole life. I'm gonna make somebody's life tough. That's fucking OSHA. OSHA, a bunch of fucking derelicts who got picked on, shoved in the toilets, or shoved in lockers, lunch thrown at them, and they became these OSHA, you know, violator savers. And they're like, we're gonna write everybody up. Whatever, man. Go blow yourself. You know, fucking blow yourself into a pretzel. I don't give a fuck. But get away from me. And for the most part, now they don't bother you, right? But then we have these a bunch of assholes here. What is it? OME, right? Yeah, OME, Operation Emergency Management. They're a bunch of fucking assholes too. They're like, anytime something happens, they're like, we're taking charge of the scene here. We're like, go, take a fucking hike. There were another one that were a bunch of assholes. OME and OSHA. OME is our Office of Emergency Management. They're like a group of firemen, cops, EMTs, I think sanitation. And anytime there's a big like mass disaster or emergency, they come in, and they come in thinking they're the shit. They're the worst. They're the worst. They're like the fucking guys that got picked on too. And like some of their medics, a lot of the OME guys are paramedics, and paramedics are inherent assholes. I know some of you might be medics, so you might know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they're another one. They're like, they get there, they're like, we're overseeing all of this, and you guys have to listen to us. Like, get the fuck bent and go somewhere else with that shit. I don't listen. They're the worst. OSHA, OME, worst guys. OEM. Some places is OME and other places is OEM. Depends on what state you live in. Their acronym is different. But yeah, stupid. The dumbest thing in the world. Fucking nerds. I'm telling you this much. That Revenge of the Nerds movie, when you watched it, now that I'm older, I side with the Kappa, Beta, or whatever the fuck. I side with them now. I'm like, yeah, get those fucking nerds. Like when we were young, we watched Revenge of the Nerds. We were on the nerd side. I am no longer on the nerd side. I am the fucking... I side with the bully in all the nerd movies now that I'm older. I'm like, I get it, because, you know, nerds. They grow up to be assholes, you know, fucking with their pens and their million of pens and their pencils and their pencil sharpeners and their erasers. Fucking going after people, writing you up for shit. That's what traffic cops are. Traffic cops are that shit. There are black nerds. They wear khaki pants. There's a couple. Not many, but there are a couple. They're like a unicorn. When you see a black nerd, you yell it out too. You have to. See a black nerd, you know, running around. Like, I'm gonna rank you guys up. You got to yell that shit out, black nerd. You know, and then you chase them, just for shits and giggles. But yeah, you chase them. AI engineers are fucking nerds. Yeah. Pocket protectors. Yeah. Anytime you see a black nerd, you got to chase them. And if you can get them in a headlock, it's even better. But that's what it is. I was never an asshole, but I can be. Oh, yeah, yeah. Lambda. He said blurs. Black nerds, blurs. Whatever you want to call them. But yeah, man. Yeah, the whole 9/11 shit was just... there's just so many misconceptions. There's just things that were lie. And again, you can look up the FDNY report. You can even type my name in. You'll find my report. It's redacted like shit now. It's like black. You're like, what the fuck is this? Who took the fucking black mark and went bananas on it? They redacted a lot of shit out of it. And I don't know why. But the one thing I talked about when I mentioned the underground explosion, that was redacted. That much I remember. But they redacted a lot of other shit. And I can't remember half the shit I said. But yeah. It's all gone now. Yeah, Elon Musk is definitely a nerd. I don't understand why people, love Elon Musk. I'm like, yo, fuck him. You fucking nerd, that piece of shit. I never liked Elon Musk. Never. And it's funny because I never liked him. And all of a sudden he teamed up with Trump, and now he was like the best nerd ever. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Listen, guys, just because people team up with people doesn't automatically make them good. It really doesn't. Like, unless they changed... Motherfucker. Unless they changed who they are as a person, it doesn't make them a good person. And Elon Musk is not changing his alien ways. He's an asshole. He will always be an asshole. Right? Just because they team up, like Mark Zuckerberg teaming up with Trump, doesn't make him any less of an asshole. He's still a dick. Tim Cook, dick. Bill Gates, evil. But he teamed up with Trump. What does that say about Trump? That's all I'm going to say about that. Because everybody keeps fucking like, Trump is my hero. I love him. I want to marry him. I'm going to get tattoo of Trump on my arm. I love him so much. He teamed up with the most evilest person on the planet. And evilest is not a word. But evil person on the planet. And he's still a good guy. Not friend of mine. I am unsubbing. Oh, no. Oh, no. Not friend of mine is leaving the channel, guys. I don't know if he's breaking my balls or being for real. Guys, okay, he was joking. But listen, guys, here's the rub. I don't give a shit when people subscribe or unsubscribe. Subscribing, I do. I walk that back. Unsubscribing, I don't. I don't care. We are fighting over the wrong things. We're fighting over the wrong things. And I'm not talking about us. I'm like just the world. We're fighting over the wrong shit, man. Yeah, not friend. I look sad. We're fighting over the wrong shit. We're at each other's necks for the wrong reason. And so when people like when I motherfuck Trump and they unsubscribe from me, I'm like, but he's part of the fucking problem now. He is our enemy. Period. That's just what it comes down to, man. You siding with Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, the other AI nerds that they named a couple of others, and one of them was a chick, I can't remember her name. He's partnering up with our enemies, people who are looking to lock this country down and take more of our freedom away. He is no longer the man of the people at all. Thank you, Rhonda, for the 2-minute heads up. And that's my fucking problem, is that this is going sideways and people are still like, oh, but Trump this. Yo, he's not our friend anymore. He is not for us. It's just what it is, man. He's a turncoat. I don't even think he was ever for us, to be honest with you. It's an inferior complex. Not friend. You could be right, man. You could be right about that. Jim says, I'm actually watching you on Starlink. Nice. Don't get me wrong, man. I like the Starlink thing. I do like that. I dig that technology. I really do. But I don't like him. I don't like any of them. These people, again, are not for us. I mean, for example, we have commissioners here in New York City, right? And certain commissioners in New York City, it's probably going to get me in trouble, but I don't care, paid their way to getting into the positions they're in. And this is a nationwide thing. You got people, guys, who shouldn't be commissioners in the fire department or police department. You got commissioners who weren't firefighters. You got commissioners who weren't cops. But somehow they ended up in a position looking over cops and firefighters. And a lot of these people weren't even in that wheelhouse. They were nowhere near that wheelhouse. And yet somehow they got the job. So we have, like, I personally believe to be a commissioner of the FDNY or NYPD or any police organization or fire organization, you should have been in those ranks. You should have been a cop or a fireman. You can't be some tech millionaire or billionaire and buy your way in to be a commissioner. That is utter bullshit. Right? And so that is all part of the problem. And people are like, well, these commissioners, they're cool because fuck them. Because they did exactly what we bitch about in the kitchen. Having fucking higher-ups millionaires buy their way into certain political positions. And that's what these people do. And they do it fucking all over the country. And we just sit idly by and take it in the fucking ass. Anyway, other than that, I'm going to go off the air now. I'm going to head on to the Angry Truth channel. I will see some of you guys tomorrow morning for the Wednesday midweek report. I should have some interesting articles for tomorrow morning for a change. Other than that, I should be on Thursday for the doubleheader, if not Friday night. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as always. And one last thing, we have the last and final 343 bike ride happening next year. I'm going to start gearing up for that, and I'm going to start asking you guys for every donation that you're looking to make to this channel, you make to that. Because that's going to be the last, that should be the last year, and that's going to be a big ride. That's from Montauk to Washington, D.C. So, if you guys are looking to donate, put all of your dollars towards that, because this helps out vets, and this helps out people who need the help. And I'm going to go over the different charities that we actually support as well. And none of us, not one firefighter who helps out in this, takes a dime. Not one. Anyway, guys, other than that, I will see you over in the Angry Truth channel. Good night.